Meghan Markle's new show, With Love, Meghan, has officially been labeled a critical failure, with a 2.7 out of 10 stars on IMDB, with most every major media dragging it as boring, uncreative, and even a narcissistic trip for Meghan. For those not familiar with Meghan Markle, this may seem like a total attack. But this week, I've received so many questions from people who are not familiar with the situation, wondering why exactly it is that Meghan is so hated. Is it because of the royal family that hates outsiders, just like Diana? Or is it because people are just so racist and misogynistic? Or is it just because boomers can't get over it? So, here today, I have for you a comprehensive analysis that dives into all of the Meghan Markle lore, the PR crises, the rumors, and more that will help you to understand where all this hate is actually coming from. And I'll leave it to you to decide if it's warranted. Today, we're going to see how Meghan's story is far more than just a drama playing out in the press or mere celebrity gossip. But I actually think it's a real-life example of what happens when you make all the wrong decisions. And it teaches us how classical femininity may actually be the perfect alternative to this chaos in the press. Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome back to The Swish, where together we explore classical femininity in trends, traditions, and lifestyles for an elegant and inspired life. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. For the majority of us, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, may just be a name that we hear in passing as clickbait fodder. She's covered in tabloids nonstop and praised to the high heavens by just a few media outlets like People magazine and Harper's Bazaar. Her aesthetic is definitely captivating, and her associations with A-listers and royals alike could be said to be admirable. But while she may still have a small, mighty following called the Sussex Squad, her reputation and support has fallen drastically in the last 5 years. It's actually placed her at the top of several lists, including the most hated Hollywood celebrity and worst Hollywood couple, several years running. And while there are several drop-off points in this steep decline, there are a few that really knew her before the days of meeting and quickly marrying Prince Harry, who's of course the second son of Princess Diana, and the now King Charles, and the brother to the future King of England, Prince William. And there's a few big picture things to understand about this situation before we dive into the details. So first, let's set the timeline straight. In 2016, Meghan and Harry met via a mutual friend over Snapchat while Meghan was visiting London. They married at St. George's Chapel in May of 2018, where they were gifted the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex by Queen Elizabeth II. And then they became senior working members of the British royal family, meaning that it was their full-time role, and that they traveled the world and appeared at events representing Her Majesty at home and abroad. But only 20 months later, Harry and Meghan stepped down as senior working royals, citing a desire to make their own money. And that's something that's not unheard of in the royal family. However, in January 2020, they moved to Meghan's hometown of Los Angeles, where they now live in a $14 million mansion in Montecito, California, having partnered with Netflix and Spotify to produce content with their production company, Archwell Productions, and Meghan's new lifestyle brand, As Ever. Now, that's just the high points. Let's talk about the biggest problems in the lore here. From the beginning, when Meghan and Harry met, Meghan was an actress starring on the TV show Suits, which was recently rebooted in 2025, and she was on the principal cast list. It was her first big acting role besides Hallmark movies, and she'd gained a small following from that. A few years before meeting Harry, she'd started The Tig, an inspirational blog capturing her life as an actress, travel tips, recipes, fashion, the typical 2010s influencer content. So, July of 2016, a divorced Meghan Markle was in London for Wimbledon, and she stayed at Soho House London, which is a members-only club for socialites, celebrities, and business moguls. Meghan was recorded to have been, quote, looking for a British man, and pitched herself and her brand to top talent agencies looking to scale her career. Her meager reputation at this point was already as someone who was looking to climb the ladder and bag someone rich. She soon met Harry. the perfect prince. And she started dating privately and dropping hints on Instagram. But after the news broke, she posed for a feature in the October 2017 issue of Vanity Fair with the headline, quote, "Wild About Harry." And this evoked memories of Princess Diana and headlines from when Harry was born. This comparison was already something that had a sour taste in the English mouth when Meghan's dressing similar to Diana already. And this is where the controversy started. But generally, the public was really thrilled for this relationship at the time. An American actress and a British prince. A perfect fairy tale. As the wedding drew closer, images were released of Meghan and Harry's engagement photo shoot, with Meghan wearing a $75,000 dress that had jaws dropping as the cost of living crisis geared up in the UK, while other royals were beginning to scale back and re-wearing clothes and cutting down on costs more and more. Meanwhile, Meghan's family background was coming to light, revealing a messy history with her parents' divorce, her own divorce, rogue siblings, but strangely, not a single family member was invited to or appeared at her wedding besides her mom. Further, palace leaks were constant, and sharing that Meghan was making Catherine, Princess of Wales, cry over the flower girls' dresses, and that Meghan was clamoring for jewels that were off-limit to her, and that she insisted the musty old castle and chapel needed to get air fresheners. So overall labeling Meghan as dictatorial and demanding in the press from the start. This wedding was watched by over 1.9 billion people. That's more than William and Catherine's wedding. And it seemed like a new era for the monarchy. Everybody agreed. But trouble soon seemed to creep in. And things really started to take a turn just months after the wedding, when the joint offices of Prince William and Harry and their wives split. Just not very long after establishing. This unprecedented upheaval led to Harry and Meghan relocating their offices out of Kensington Palace, alongside William and Catherine's offices, to Buckingham Palace, along with their own social media, their own website, and of course rumors that the staff was being bullied by Meghan, causing the split. But that was just the beginning. So before we get into more of this and how it's going downhill, I'd like to thank today's sponsor of this video, Ana Lucia Diamonds. Ana Lucia's slogan, "Real Diamonds for Real Women," perfectly encapsulates her beautiful designs. So what makes Ana Lucia Diamonds the perfect choice for the classically feminine woman? These pieces are graceful, elegant, and effortlessly refined with ethical sourcing, stunning craftsmanship, and they're designed for the modern woman who values tradition. It's the details that truly make elegance shine, and there's no better way to do that than with Ana Lucia Diamonds. You can find her latest Golden Goddess collection, available now alongside her best-selling pieces, and you can use code SWISH20 for 20% off. That's 20% off of diamonds, y'all. I couldn't love or appreciate this brand more and all that it stands for. So please click the link in the description to shop now and use code SWISH20 for 20% off. By October, Prince Harry's cousin Eugenie was getting married, and she actually had to move her wedding date to the end of the year as Prince Harry was higher in the line of succession and they got married in May. So as guests of the event, Harry and Meghan attended, with Meghan turning up in a maternity coat, having never confirmed a pregnancy, but no doubt aware of the heavy speculation. The next day, the rumors were confirmed to the press that she was, in fact, pregnant. And she'd announced it extremely early on. Frustrations then arose that Meghan had drawn unnecessary attention on Eugenie's big day, and it was only reinforced by her constant touching of a barely there bump while on their first official overseas tour, where she was overheard saying that she couldn't believe she wasn't paid for this. She also left fans upset after spotting an organization in Fiji who she'd previously applied to, but had not accepted her, and she stormed out of the venue, leaving dismayed and long-awaited fans in tears. The criticism of her was reinforced by Meghan's choice of wearing blood diamonds gifted by a Saudi Arabian prince who was making headlines at the time for ordering the death of a journalist. She wore them again for a second time a few months later, seemingly purposefully. The couple proceeded with their duties after the birth of their son, Archie Harrison, Mountbatten Windsor, including a second high-profile tour of South Africa on behalf of the Queen. This time, however, they were followed by a camera crew, and Meghan gave a candid interview, including a moment reflecting on how no one has asked her if she was okay. As she reflected on how difficult her life was in the royal family, few viewers would open their eyes until the world connected the dots just a few years later, questioning whether or not this entire interview was a setup. At this point, things generally remained positive for her, but things were just about to fall apart. For Christmas of 2019, Harry and Meghan opted to travel to Canada, a Commonwealth country and home to Meghan for several years while filming Suits. However, it was the beginning of the end. Before alerting Her Majesty, media outlets, or even their staff, Meghan and Harry released a statement on social media, declaring that they would be stepping down as senior working royals to pursue a, quote, progressive new role within this institution, where they intended to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to fully support Her Majesty the Queen. Many have cited a desire for privacy in this statement as their reason for stepping back, but it actually has never been mentioned by them, but rather a simultaneous fight that Prince Harry has been having in court regarding his private security in light of this decision that has left the public feeling confused about the duo's desires. After stepping down as senior working royals and meeting with the Queen, King Charles, and William to come up with a path forward, the couple moved to Los Angeles, where Harry and Meghan set up several charitable entities and a for-profit production venture, including Netflix and Spotify. And while a show was teased by the podcasting giant for winter of 2020, nothing manifested besides a brief holiday special with Harry and Meghan, where they spoke only for a few minutes, and the rest was just clips from their celebrity friends who were speaking about, quote, compassion, kindness, and a couple other pay-to-play topics of the sort. Nothing else came of this show, and the project was totally canned. So by now, people were mildly intrigued with them, and they were expecting them to go on their merry way. But then came the bombshell interview with Oprah in March of 2021. And while Prince Harry's grandfather lay dying in the hospital, the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex sat down for their first in-depth interview with Oprah Winfrey. And the first half of this interview exclusively featured Meghan, where she tore into every detail of her experience as a royal. She claimed that she was the one that was bullied, and that her children weren't given titles because of their race, and that the institution silenced her, took her passport, took her keys, instead of welcoming her. Strange and since totally and credibly debunked lies have been shared by them, including a secret wedding, where the Archbishop has since denied performing this, her statement that the royal family refused to give her any mental health care. In fact, her husband and Prince William owned a charity devoted to mental health, and that the racist royal family wouldn't give her children titles, but actually, they weren't given titles because they weren't in the line of succession to receive a title until Her Majesty passed away in 2022. They've since received these titles. They also said that their Netflix deals were never a part of the plan, but proposals have since been leaked with the couple with streaming giants as early as 2019. Overall, the Oprah interview shockingly turned Meghan's fans from sentimental onlookers to duped fans who realized that much of what she had said and done in the past has all been for show or victimhood. In years since, her Netflix series Harry and Meghan revealed intimate details of her and Harry's life that's contradicted claims made in the Oprah interview and highlighted her blatant disrespect for Queen Elizabeth, like when she did a, quote, medieval times curtsy in front of Her Majesty. Meghan's lack of respect for the position that she was given, and now only merching off the title that she was gifted by the Queen as her only source of relevance, has been taken by the public incredibly poorly. Worst of all are the bullying investigations that have been brought to a whole new definition of mean girl through several investigative reports, including one by Buckingham Palace itself, which was instigated by Meghan's former staff. It was revealed that Meghan is known as a, quote, dictator in heels, that she has shouted at staff, thrown tea at them, and made wild accusations and demands. Two of Hollywood's most respected outlets, The Hollywood Reporter and Vanity Fair, both investigated their colleagues and former friends and turned up with serious allegations about her treatment of staff and desire to be seen as prestigious and high profile. The amount of turnover in their business alone is abominable. While they've done their best to try and quiet these claims, the quality of her projects reflects a messy behind the scenes. Her Spotify show Archetypes ran for one season in 2022 and was canceled after charting below whale noises. The over-editing and the lack of celebrity guests from her with insightful content made it difficult to engage with, and the drama behind the scenes was clearly evident. The contrived cover to her mean girl persona, crying victim when something doesn't go her way, hasn't fared well for her. With her new show and brand, which she didn't do due diligence on and couldn't obtain any trademark rights, and then lying to the public about the reason it had to be changed to as ever, makes things really questionable. And while there wasn't one major blow-up or public debacle to point to, although you could argue the Oprah interview did just that, Meghan Markle's downfall is a simmering smattering of background problems that, when put in perspective, paints a disastrous picture. Her new show is vapid, yet pretty, but without any new insights. All her creative offerings can be found on Pinterest from several years ago. With Love, Meghan seems to be a mask on a quickly crumbling facade. And for those unfamiliar with her former actions, comments, and disrespect, the hate for her may come across as a smear campaign. However, when considering everything put together, Meghan's authenticity is severely questioned. We can't forget that Catherine was an outsider when she married Prince William, too. She didn't have an Instagram following or even an actress background, but she was the daughter of party planners who lived a middle-class life. Catherine had just as much, if not more, media scrutiny than Meghan, and she is the future queen, with rumors that have been bizarre for decades now. However, she's never played the victim. She stayed true to her values and is incredibly authentic. Do you think this video would help someone you know better understand this situation? Share it with them, and I'll see you in the next video.